Have you heard of this military special operations command exercise called Jade Helm?
Speculation about why the military wants to train in American communities instead of military bases is fueling a growing number of theories across the internet and social media.
The government will take action when it thinks its authority is threatened.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has even asked his National Guard to monitor it. So what is Jade Helm 15? It's realistic military training taking place simultaneously in 7 states, from Southern California to Texas. Over 8 weeks, the nation's elite special forces will practice unconventional warfare by operating outside their normal support systems, adapting to new terrain, and working with civilians to gain their trust. And working with civilians to gain their trust. The
looting starts, the shooting starts. You have a president talking about the Second Amendment as a use for people to come out here and use firearms against the people that are protesting. This is the messages that we're seeing. I don't know if you on social media, because the news don't tell you everything. But you have to pay attention to what's going on, or else we have a president that's trying to incite a race war. And when the borders are closed, we can't leave. You have people in here that need your help. This is when you and y'all stand together with the community, with society, to stop the governmental oppression, period. We need you. So then march with us, march beside us. You get your people. Y'all march beside us, march beside us. March beside us, let the revolution be televised. March beside us and show us that you're here for us. Make history with us, please. Let's just do it. March with us. We'll start marching, and you march with us. Please. Just do it. Just come on. Be the change. Do it. Please do it. Please. We are good people. March with us.
Make you a deal. Because I can't leave this post, I will march through this street with you guys to that next intersection.
I don't know.
From this intersection to that intersection, but I have to control this area.
Control. What is it to control, man? March with us. It will send a huge message. We just march with us. March the whole round with us. March you and your men. Y'all protect us. Protect us. Y'all march with us. March around like we just did. Do that march with us. Y'all stand beside us. No, you don't, because you the protector. So if you can't patrol yourself, if it's you that's supposed to be patrolling us, then walk with us.
I'm also protecting some of these businesses.
Okay.
Well, can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor? Can you take a kneel? Can you take a kneel?
I don't know. It ain't enough for me.
Let me see.
They ain't enough for me.
Thank you. Let me see you take a kneel.
They ain't enough for me.
Let me see you take a kneel. Thank you.
Let's all do it together. Come on. Everybody, let's all do it together. You against George Floyd, take a kneel. Let's all do it together.
Oh, y'all in the back, take a knee. Take a knee.
If you standing up, we taking you with it.
And freedom of speech as a means of this supposedly brilliant theory to win hearts and minds, to win the people's trust. Admiral Mike Mullen, another one of Donald Trump's detractors in this same group of high-ranking commanders, literally his entry into the war was discussions of how we must win the people's trust. In other words, there was not a military objective here. We were not winning terrain. We were supposed to win psychological terrain. And what that required was a general Islamization of American standing, of American military law, of American military strategy. You saw intensely restrictive rules of engagement that were inflicted on our troops that essentially caused many to die and be maimed. This was not just out of a blue sky. This was all part of this effort to appear nice. I mean, think about that, to appear nice and friendly and trustable. I think the most heinous thing General Petraeus did in that war was issue a directive that went to men, asking them, directing them to walk those roads, not ride them. Now think about those roads in Afghanistan. We've all heard about the explosives, the IEDs, that were constantly inflicting casualties, American casualties. When General Petraeus instructed the men to walk, not ride, he was putting them in harm's way so that the Afghans could see the Americans, and that this would somehow transform their attitude In other words, strip away all their Islamic teaching and loyalty to their own people and their own traditions and make them like the Americans. Another one, and this was brought to my attention by a mother of 2 Marines, one in Afghanistan, one in Iraq. So she's following this very closely. Take off your ballistic glasses. This was a General Petraeus directive. Yes, to look at them in the face so that they could see what a nice face you have. I'm not kidding, Jason. This sounds crazy.
More
but this
likely
was
to go
directive.
blind from shrapnel.
Exactly, blind and also brain damage, because shrapnel can go into the brain through the eye. And this was a directive from General Petraeus, all part of this effort to essentially prostrate and sacrifice American men and women to this cause of winning Islamic hearts and minds.
All right. The reason I bring that up, if you want to operate with complete impunity, anonymity, and invisibility, how would you do it? Would it be cool if everyone that was your enemy thought you were dead? They thought you were gone? They had no idea you existed? So at that point, they would not recognize any of the things happening to them with your fingerprints on it. They would feel the effects, the consequences of your revenge, the fruition of your plan. But they wouldn't even know you existed. How do you fight a ghost? It is the supreme definition of asymmetrical warfare. If your enemy is an economic juggernaut, you cannot beat them in the world of finance. If your enemy is a military Goliath, you do not beat him on the battlefield. If your enemy is a technological genius, you do not try to outdevelop him. What do? You simply become invisible. And then he cannot see your attacks. And he begins to get paranoid because he sees the results of your actions, but he doesn't know where it's coming from, because you can be everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. And he doesn't even suspect that you are the one doing and being behind everything that happens. So he starts looking for others to blame. Inevitably, he's going to blame the wrong people because you're a ghost. He cannot grab you. He grabs the wrong people. He overreacts. He does stupid things and turns probably what used to be his allies against him into enemies. And now what you've done is compounding. And he begins to feel the walls closing in on him. But he doesn't know where to strike because you don't exist, because he believes you are dead. He believes you are gone. So Dantes, in The Count of Monte Cristo, basically becomes a ghost, a powerful ghost, because the people he seeks to get revenge on believe he no longer exists. Now, what if a nation could do that? Or worse, what if an entire ideology could do that? How effective of an asymmetrical strategy would that be? Where it doesn't matter how powerful your enemy is, how wealthy your enemy is, how technologically savvy your enemy is. Because you pick and choose the times when you strike. He doesn't see it coming. He doesn't see you leave. He just sees the results of what happened. And yet he cannot explain it. It begins to prey on him psychologically. He begins to feel helpless. So that helps to further your aims, because he will begin to explain it away as everything else and nothing, all at the same time. If you are very effective, eventually he'll begin to blame himself. Imagine trying to fight with a ghost in a dark room. The harder you swing, the tireder you get, yet you land no blows. But your ghost can hit you and push you and make you fall over the furniture. At some point, do you start to believe you are crazy? At some point, do you start to believe you are clumsy? Would that not be the ultimate strategy for defeating your ultimate enemy? You become a ghost and you can literally walk through walls. There is no defense against you. And like in the movie Poltergeist, if some creepy, weird little old lady says, yeah, it's a ghost that's doing all this activity, even if someone recognized the phantasm in their midst, if someone realized there was a wraith doing all these things, a specter behind all of it, and they told you, you would react by saying they are absolutely fucking insane.